Back to Friday the 13th, and we are live, so you can always give us a call at 951-356-6882. That is, not so coincidentally, also the daytime telephone number for Mixified Media Solutions.
Speaking of irritating sounds, not your voice, but that also counts. But like when people do this,
Dang.
like noises like that, people banging the mic stand.
Yeah, especially those people that are trying to drink their drink through a red vine.
It's the only way to do it, man.
Yeah, as if drinking soda isn't already sugary enough.
Would you stop that? Oh my God.
Sibilance.
Ugh.
Okay, that's enough.
What
What are we doing?
Does it help that it's a super old red vine?
It kind of does, actually. It
Helps
maintains its bend. It does not collapse under the fluid traveling to the
Fluid
inside.
intake?
Yeah.
All right,
So
well,
it holds
what
up
we
rather
were
well.
doing was I was trying to finish explaining that you can give us a call at 951-356-6882, and you can contact Mixified Media Solutions if you need production assistance during the day. You can also check us
night.
out at Mixified.
Maybe in the afternoon.
What?
Doesn't have to just be during the day. I mean, you know, evening times are also available.
You can check it out at Mixified.com, and you can write to us at Mixified@gmail.com, or you can tweet us at Joe Carbonetta, at Chevelle Devine, or at Todd Fluker. So, yeah.
Well done. Well done.
All right. Anyway, join the Facebook chat. That's it. Like us, friend us, share us, do all that fun stuff for us, please. We need the publicity.
Wow.
Anyway,
Please watch.
so I'm going to open
On the
up.
heels of Todd talking about how this is a sucky podcast. Please watch us.
I wanted to open up with an oddly controversial subject. Did you guys catch in the news earlier this week that the founder of Papa John's pizza chain stepped down amid a wake of controversy?
Amid a what now?
A wake of controversy.
Okay.
I remember hearing something
I've heard nothing.
about him and him being, I don't know, I just, what was it? I think it wasn't just, I remember hearing stories about how he doesn't pay his employees enough, yada, 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 but that's normal stuff for jobs like that, you know. I just saw somebody posting on our Mixified Instagram page after last week's Costco reviews. Someone posted on there, I guess they run a Costco blog, so they were like commenting on our stuff like
About Costco being broken.
Yeah,
about the busted Costco.
Yeah. Good grief.
They're like, hey, what do you think about ours? And I looked on his page and he had this one thing saying, oh, why does, Costco make so much profit? And it was like, we pay our employees a living wage and let them unionize and yada, yada, yada. Unlike Walmart.
We don't have our hamburgers in stock, and we don't serve French fries or offer the drink, but we pay a living wage. Okay.
Yeah,
Well-
it's very interesting because, not to rat on these organizations too much, but I'm not a big Walmart fan. But, when you got to go, you got to go. Walmart's like the toilet. When you got to go, you got to go. But they also have one of the other most notorious corporations, McDonald's, built into pretty much every single one. So it's like the two evil empires have joined forces.
Did you hear that McDonald's, not in this state, but in another state, McDonald's had to pull its salads, by the way? Because apparently a whole bunch of people came down with a parasitic intestinal infections.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the McSalad is kind of frightening.
Who gets a salad at McDonald's?
I don't know.
Anyway?
I don't know.
You're going to pay twice as much for something that you're supposed to be eating healthy.
Yeah,
But
seriously.
I'm sure it has just as many calories as a
You'd
Whopper.
do better off to just eat the dandelions out in front of the train.
You could go to the grocery store and get a whole freaking bag of Ready Pack for like 99 cents.
Or you
Snatch.
could literally just eat the dandelions out front.
Yeah,
that's-
just snatch
that's
some
true.
grass
If
out.
you're in a desert community, just go grab a piece of that nopales. You're good.
Okay. Yeah. Remove the spines first, though.
Hey, they probably are better for you than whatever's inside McDonald's. And they might do less damage to your
cactus
intestines.
spine.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway,
That's going to be the quote for this episode. Eating cactus spines is better for you than McDonald's.
we're probably gonna get sued by McDonald's for that. That's gonna be a McSuit right there. Anyway, going back to the whole Papa John thing. Do you guys remember? Was it last week or the week before? That I think it was 2 weeks ago. We were talking about people ratting other people out for the most insane reasons, like those kids that were trying to sell bottled water.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that whole thing. If you don't know what we're talking about,
That's
check out some of our older shows. But anyway, okay. So here's the thing about Papa John. He steps down amid a wake of controversy because he used the N-word.
I mean, that's a pretty good reason.
But wait.
You can't do that in this day and age.
But wait. This is the rush to judgment, all right? Here's the thing. The conversation he was having was supposed to be a private conversation, a three-way call between himself.
So he was having a three-way and using racial slurs.
You know, you're as bad as the media that
Sweet.
just crucified him. So it's himself, his marketing department, and a laundry service. I don't understand this at all, okay? But the context of the conversation is this. There was already controversy swirling around him, and he had stepped down as CEO of the company in the wake of that controversy because he complained that pizza sales had taken a nosedive in the face of the NFL's refusal to crack down on the players that were taking a knee during the national anthem. His contention was that there were so many infuriated people that were angry at the NFL for not doing something about this, that they were simply switching off their TVs and not watching the game. And if they're not sitting in front of the TV watching the game, they're not ordering pizzas. And so pizza sales had taken a nosedive.
How dare they go outside?
Yeah.
Stay at home and watch TV.
Well, so, of course, this infuriated a whole bunch of people, and in order to stem the tide of anger, he stepped down as CEO. Flash forward to this private conversation that he's having with these people, and the marketing department is still saying, yeah, you know, the company is suffering because of your complaints about the NFL not cracking down on people taking a knee. He says in the conversation, and this is almost a verbatim quote, Colonel Sanders once called black people the N-word, and nobody said anything about it.
How long ago was that, though?
But the thing is, he wasn't calling anybody.
I get it. But you got to know where you are. Well, first of all, it was a private conversation. It shouldn't really have gotten out, but
the thing was,
you can't do that today. People are so sensitive, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, that's the point. He didn't call anybody the N-word. He pointed out that Colonel Sanders called people that, and nobody said anything about it. He talks about people taking a knee, and they want to crucify him. And instead, they crucified him for actually saying the N-word.
He had it coming.
Do you think this was fair? That's my question.
Heck yeah, it was fair.
Was this fair? And to you all at home, if you're watching, I mean, when you put the whole thing in context, is this not being blown unfairly out of proportion?
Wait, I want to get on Snopes and see if that's actually true. Did Colonel Sanders actually use the N-word?
Come on. A colonel from the South, and you don't think he used the N-word at some point?
Yeah, here we go. We got a. Let's see if we can get some more facts about this. Papa John's founder quits as chairman after using N-word during conference call. This is from NPR.org.
NPR is reputable, right?
Oh yeah.
See, the problem is the media only came out with half the story in the beginning.
Well, that's why Trump is president.
Nobody bothered to actually hear how he used the N-word, in what context.
Nobody cares.
That's the thing. Nobody cares.
You don't sell ads by giving a rat's butt.
Again, don't get me wrong. You know I never use this word, and you're right. It's kind of a taboo thing. But should he have been forced to basically resign from his company over this? Because he wasn't actually calling anybody anything. He was pointing out that somebody else used the word once, and there was no controversy.
But how long ago was this?
How long ago what? The Colonel Sanders
thing. That's going to be like in the 80s
yeah,
or something.
we're talking probably, 30, 40 years ago. The point is, he wasn't saying it to be racist.
Yeah, I get that, but
yeah, here you go. Here's a something called thecourierjournal.com. Says Papa John said Colonel used N-word. Was KFC's icon racist?
Do we really need to ask that question? I mean, I guess we do.
Wait,
apparently,
was he? I think
Yeah,
that's.
I
think that's an important distinction.
I don't think he was.
Ah, jeez.
You don't think he was? Okay.
No. This is an upstanding man. He served his country. Okay. I don't know what branch
fried
of the
chicken?
No.
Oh.
Well, yeah, he did that too. But he's a colonel.
Was
man.
he actually a military colonel, or did they just call him colonel because he was from the
you
South?
Bite your tongue. That man served.
Did
Wait.
he? Do you know this
No,
for a
I
fact?
have no
Okay.
idea.
all right.
I have no idea.
Anyway, you're worried about what Colonel Sanders said. We're getting a little far off the subject here.
But okay, so
Well, the
there's
subject, I feel like the heart of the subject should be.
no, whether or not Colonel Sanders actually
No,
said
no,
that
no,
is
no.
irrelevant.
What I'm saying is, what I think
It's immaterial.
the heart of the subject should be, is it even okay to use the N-word if you are, say, quoting someone or, singing rap lyrics?
Yeah, I was gonna say, dial up any rap song you want.
yeah, and that's here it goes. Okay, so that's
Chevelle, you being the only true black person in the room, What if you
wait.
saw-
Oh, never mind. I'm not even gonna go there.
what if you saw a white
we
person...
need like some kind of transition that goes. And now for the black opinion.
Oh my
What
goodness.
if you saw a white person bumping some Tupac, and he was
I see
singing
it
all the
the
words?
time. I really, I see.
Yeah,
it
you
all
see it all the time. Where do you live that you don't?
I mean,
you've never seen
do-
this.
Does that cut you? Do you think that's
So I'm gonna answer this.
wrong?
I'm gonna answer this two ways, because there's different communities that use the term. You have the gangster community, which the whole underworld.
And basically, nobody calls them out on it because they're afraid they'll get shot.
No, they will get shot if they do it. But that eventually grew into hip hop and rap, which ultimately both of those things were a part of the black community. Once that thing went mainstream, once you've heard that one McDonald's riff in February where they pulled out a little rapper beat, it was done. And this is all right.
Where
black
is he
people are gonna
going
hate me
with
now.
this?
This is my problem with black people who always want to talk about what other races can't do about cultural appropriation. If that's really how you feel, you have to keep it in house. I don't speak Chinese, so I can't use any Chinese racial slurs the way they do. Now, granted, black people are American. They're a culture that exists that is fairly uniquely American, because you can go to any other country where people who are of African descent exist, and it's not going to be the same as what you have in America. They don't have the same experience. The closest thing might be some of the Caribbean islands where slavery was a part of that whole chain. But my feeling is, like, after NWA, part of the reason why you had Congress talking about, like, when Ice-T came out with the
F the police.
no, that was NWA, but that track too, the Body Count album, that raised a huge stink. But once it gets to that point where everybody feels like they got to do something, they weren't getting mad because black people were listening to it. They can care less what black people do. But once white people start doing it, that's when it starts to become an issue. And I
Okay,
think that there's a lot of white people
so-
who are a little hypersensitive about it. But here's where I put it.
And then that Jewish lawyer
it
was
all-
making all the money.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I saw that movie.
I actually haven't seen it yet. So here's
All right, wait. Now we found it. Okay.
so
That's what they were really upset about.
actually that is what they're really upset about. But here's where I draw the line, because there are people who it's kind of a two-edged sword, because on the one hand you've got people whose parents genuinely tried to raise them where
You know that saying, two-edged sword?
okay.
It's a double-edged sword, dumbass.
What? What are you talking about?
Two-edged
He's,
sword.
he's correcting my metaphors.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So
You gotta watch out for them two-edged swords.
No!
Is it Darth Maul? Got two swords? One sword attached to another sword?
I don't even know if I can make the point anymore. Okay. So this is where the double-edged sword comes in.
Okay.
But there
Okay,
are
everything.
three-edged swords and
Oh,
four-edged
snap,
swords.
yo! Breaking news.
Just saying.
Oh. What's the breaking news?
There's 3 edges to the sword?
Yes.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Okay, here's my point.
Okay, yes, please get to that. Because I still want to know how this plays into Papa John.
Because I have actually kind of fallen into this category myself. You have people who are raised to genuinely believe that everybody is okay. There's no reason to hate somebody because of race or something like that. At that point, while these words are hurtful, and there are people who use them hurtfully, once it becomes a part of the vernacular the way it does in the urban communities, anybody growing up in that urban community is going to talk like that. If you go to some of these deeper areas of places where hip-hop originated, New York, or after NWA, South Central, parts of the South, that's just the way people talk. And it's not just black people in those communities, so other people are going to hear it. Now, some have the common sense not to speak that way, but after 5-6 generations of, well, let's say 3 generations, after I think we're going into the third generation of people actually raised listening to hip hop. It's just a part of the conversation. And the people getting angry are either the hypersensitive people who are looking for something to argue about, which is understandable, or people who come from a generation, or at least have the knowledge that not everybody who's using it is using it because it's just a part of the vernacular. Some people just do it because they think they can get away with it. And I've had situations as recently as within the last 5 years.
Wait. There is actually a triple-edged sword.
Oh my God, really? So we're sitting here trying to have a serious conversation, and he's looking this up.
I could get a triple-edged sword
For 50
with
bucks.
stand for $50.
Yeah, it's
a
the
full
business.
tang triple-edged sword.
Wow, full tang. That's good stuff. What kind of steel are they using?
Now see if you
Never
can
mind,
find
never mind.
Yeah,
High carbon
see if you can find a
steel.
quadruple edged sword while we're at it. But anyway, so wait a minute.
Well,
Not-
so here's what I will say. Even when to answer a more direct question, because you asked, what do I do when I hear those people driving down the street hearing that music? Bottom line is, that's all you hear today.
No, it was Todd that asked.
Whomever.
If
That's
a
all
white,
you hear.
Are you offended when you see a white person in full on?
Am I offended? No, I would not say I'm offended. I am disheartened and I'm disappointed.
Well,
But who are you
like
disappointed with? The white people who did this, or the black community that released the music?
I'm disappointed.
And I
Okay,
say music
okay,
in air
so
quotes.
I'm. You can't even say that because
Racist.
black people don't own the labels. Somebody else is putting this music
Oh,
out. We have to
dang.
go to somebody else's table if we wanted to get the mass distribution. Black people don't own radio stations.
Wait,
all
wait,
radio
wait.
stations and all media
Back
outlets.
up the truck, because here I'm going to throw something in your face. All right,
your face.
you're now saying that we can't blame the artist for doing this because it's the record company that did this.
I
Okay,
am saying
wait,
that,
wait,
and I'll
but
let
me
you make your
finish.
point, and then I have a counterpoint.
Yeah,
for
let me
you.
finish. Okay, that's
I'm
like
gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish. No.
That's like the argument that slavery happened because the black people let it happen. They didn't rise up. So you're telling
It's
me
not at all the
you're
same.
telling me that these black artists can't say, you know what, I'm not going to record that because I'm not going to use that word, and I'm not going to perpetuate this.
It's not at all the same, Joe.
It's
It's
how is
not
it
at
not
all
the same?
It's not
How
the
is it
same.
not the
It's
same?
not the same because there is clearly a small group of people who control most of everything. And if we want to speak specifically about the music industry, while you have record labels that are owned by black people or hip hop artists or whatnot, they don't have the distribution power. So when you want distribution, you got to go to radio stations. And yes, there are some black stations that are owned by black people and generally they'll play music that is more targeted more toward that audience. But when you're hearing this stuff on your top 40s and every other word or even entire verses they can't play the lyrics to because of FCC regulations, that's not because of the artist. Artists should be free to say whatever and do whatever they want.
Yes,
but when the public is putting the demand on that, if the public didn't buy it, they wouldn't make it. And it's not. I mean, how many times do you hear about artists going broke because of their music?
So basically, you're saying forget artistic integrity, forget any kind of integrity. It's like, oh, I'm getting paid. You know what? I'll use the N-word all I want.
No, what I'm saying is the people who are willing to do that are the ones who are getting promoted. Because I listen to plenty of music that nobody hears that does not talk about that because I don't want to hear it.
Uh-huh.
But I can't play that among anybody else because everybody really wants to be edgy. So until America decides to grow up and not have everything be so edgy, or even further, and this might be a whole different topic, until America decides that it's not okay to be permissive about everything.
Well,
because that's the real problem.
See, I'm going to disagree with you on that one because whether or not the public wants to buy it, I think is irrelevant. If you as an artist make the choice that because everybody wants to buy it and I want to sell my records, I'm just going to do this, then you're basically selling out.
Yeah, you're 100% correct.
And that's
But
on
what
you.
is your,
That's
no,
on you.
You're 100% correct. But what are your options? Because in this
Your option, go find
No.
something else to do.
But that's not always an option, Joe. That's
Oh,
not. It's
man.
really easy to say that when you have something, but when you have nothing.
I would
Hey
sell
man,
out
I'm pretty
so
close to not
fast.
having anything.
But
Have you
when-
seen this show?
Yeah, I would
But when
sell
you
out.
have nothing and somebody comes to you and tells you they will give you the world, all you got to do is say what they want you to say. Because half of these rap artists that are on the charts now, a lot of them don't even write their own stuff.
Well,
But they have an image. It's the whole video killed the radio star. They want somebody who looks pretty and fits a bill. Like most of these rappers that are talking about how they grew up in the streets and how gangster they are, they got freaking college degrees.
Yeah.
Why don't they talk about that on their albums?
Because
Because it doesn't sell
Huey
albums.
Lewis already covered
That's
that
the
in
short
the 80s.
answer.
It was called Hip to Be
Because
Square.
it doesn't sell albums, number one. And albums are not exclusively being purchased by black people, and black people are not a large enough population in America in order to drive all record sales. That's stupid to think that. The bottom line is the majority of America is white people, and the majority of white people want this music. And if they didn't, they could shut it down. And that is why white people talk about that stuff the way they do, and that is why black people kind of got to let it go. You sold it. They sold out, so I don't want to hear it.
So now you're going back with I saw somebody had brought up the topic in that conversation last week. Somebody actually joined the Facebook chat and pointed out that there were black people who sold other black people into slavery.
Absolutely.
So you're basically saying, so there are black people that are selling the N-word to
Absolutely.
the white people.
And you can actually apply this to all media across the board, and it's not going to just be racial slurs. It's going to be sexual misconduct. They're trying to make bad normal. And when the more normal bad becomes, the worse you got to be edgy. So every song, if you listen to a top 40 station right now, within, let's say 30 minutes, they might play 5 songs. Probably not even that these days. Maybe 4 songs.
Okay.
Every single one of them, including the music that is not hip hop and not by black people, is going to have some sexual content, like excruciatingly sexual content. And probably will contain some swear words. Like you've got, I mean, this stuff goes back to like Bob Dylan and them. They did have swear words in some of their music, but they were talking about something.
But Bob Dylan was singing about the Vietnam War, so I mean, that's a little different.
And when you have nothing to fight about because it's a consumer society we live in, they just do it just to make a buck.
So to bring this conversation full circle, part of the ridiculousness of this is basically what you're telling me is if Papa John had said, Colonel Sanders once called somebody the N-word and he didn't get in, trouble for that, that would have been okay.
He says the N-word, who actually says the word?
The N-word.
Okay.
No, he just says the N instead of saying the word. He just says the N-word.
It never would have done anything.
This wouldn't have been an issue.
Well, this is only an issue when it comes to public, because one thing that black people know is that white people use that word in private circles. They do. Particularly white people in power. It comes up. It's especially when you talk about people, and I'm not saying it's just racism, it's just a part of the power. It comes with power. That's the other side of, like, you have the whole Me Too movement. It's the same thing. They talk about this stuff, like the whole thing with Trump on the bus, grab her this is something that happens in a private conversation. This is how they talk, this is how they think, and it's part of their one-upmanship, how far I have been able to push it because I have so much power. So this is more a power play than even race. They can really care less about race more often than not. They just want to know how much they can get and how much they can rip off people.
All right, so do you think that he should have been ousted from his company?
No.
Todd? And nobody's chiming in on this on the Facebook chat? Nobody wants to touch this third rail?
Nope.
Wow, really?
Not a one.
Probably because they don't want to lose their pizza.
I do like pizza.
I was thinking, even people discussing topics like this online.
Yeah, I'm surprised we're not getting hate mail
and
already.
Putting your opinion out can have repercussions against you as a person. Like we were saying last week, that people just saying, "Oh, I agree with this" or "I disagree with that," that can have repercussions against you personally.
So basically, you don't want to say. Is that what you're telling me?
I think. I don't like it in general. I think it's a super crass word. I don't like the use of it in general.
I see. I will go on record as saying I think it was a poor choice of word. I mean,
I'm not even sure that that's the case, though.
No,
it was a statement of fact.
But what was the point of it?
But again, he could have said the N-word instead of saying the N-word.
It doesn't even seem to have anything to do with the conversation they were having.
Well, no, it does. He was pointing out that I guess what he was trying to say was people have done worse and not gotten this kind of kickback.
But I don't even.
Now here's the other side of that. One thing
it's apples and oranges. I feel like
it kind of is. It kind of is. And here's one thing that we don't know.
I'm surprised you didn't say it was black and white.
Because it may be that in private conversations, he might do that type of thing often. And this might have just been the straw that broke the camel's back. So we don't know that side of it.
That's true. We don't. We have no conversational history outside of what took place in this one particular conversation. But if we're in a court of law, based on that singular bit of evidence, again...
I don't know. Who appointed the Supreme Court justices?
While I'm going to...
Okay, then he can do it all day long.
Well, I'm going to go on record as saying I would not have used that word as a very poor choice of word. I'm not sure that what he did rose to the level of being ousted from his own company.
But that's the problem these days. Anything you do that is seen as negative, you know, people are going to get rid of you. There's almost no reason not to. Companies in general
They're cowards.
don't want to weather that storm at all.
And
They will get rid of anyone.
Oh gosh, I want to make this political so bad.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I
mean,
honestly
when have we
believe-
stopped? When have we shied away from that
honestly
before?
believe that is the reason why Donald Trump is president.
Because he's a racist.
Not because he's a racist, but because he's willing to say things and speak honestly.
Well, yeah, he didn't.
And it's like
he
I've
just
said.
pardoned those ranchers or whatever that were.
Yeah, the ones
holding
that tried to
that,
take over the whole federal. Yeah, I can't believe that. I could
I'm cool with
not
that.
believe
Why
that
not?
he pardoned them.
Why not?
Because they basically
Oh
got
my
up and said
God.
F you to the federal government.
Yeah.
And they started fires.
Yeah.
Okay.
Endangered lives.
Oh,
And
come
then
on.
took-
In the middle of
They
nowhere.
took over a building,
People
a
had
federal
to go
building.
and fight that fire.
Come on, man. Okay, I am not convinced that all of the fires and everything. I can't say that's all just a. No,
Right,
I'm not
yeah,
saying
he's
they
not
didn't
convinced
happen.
of global
I'm
warming
not
and the
saying that
fires
didn't happen.
The
but-
fires aren't real either.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm not saying that things did not happen. What I'm saying is when you have those type of situations, one thing that happens on both sides, the instigators and the authorities who are trying to quash it, is they'll send in agitators. So you send somebody in to start something and ignite it and hope
Don't
it sets one
start
side of the air off so that
nothing,
they can
won't
eventually
be
come in.
nothing.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go to your '80s track. We didn't start the fire.
Yeah, you know what? That's
Now-
not.
see,
That's
now
actually
he's
not a
gonna
bad
do that.
idea. That's.
Okay,
I can see if I
fine.
have that one.
So,
somewhere,
but
you know?
no, I honestly believe that that's part of the reason why Trump is president, because when you look at Hillary when she spoke, she was trying so hard to be diplomatic. She was trying so hard to say everything everybody wanted to hear,
Hillary started the fire.
and nobody wanted to hear it. And now, what you're seeing, and you're going to see more of this now that we're in a midterm election year,
Crooked
you're going to see
Hillary.
more Democrats using Trump tactics. And
Trump
you kind of see that
tactics?
now. Yeah, it's kind of like what went down
Trumptastic.
Yeah.
like civility is gone, essentially. Trump has made it okay for both sides to fight dirty. And it's because he's telling the truth.
I'm not sure that Trump was the one that did that. I think that happened before. I like to blame things on Trump. I'm more than happy to put the blame on him for everything. I'm not sure we can pin this one on Trump.
I'm not saying he caused it. I'm saying the fact that he was able to use it effectively has opened the floodgates. So now all politics is less about, and this has been my problem with politicians for a long time, and this is why I've always said I can care less about any politician, and I don't align with any party. All politicians are now going to make their politics about hating the other person's politics versus actually having genuine solutions and genuine ideas and problem solving for the country. It's easier to say you suck than it is to say here's why I don't suck. Because nobody wants to hear why you don't suck. They want to hear why the person they don't like sucks. Ginormous echo chambers. Thank you, Facebook.
That is a great way to handle anything, really. Just talk about how much the other guy sucks.
Yeah.
You don't really have to prove why you don't suck.
And-
It's like the burden of proof is gone.
Yeah. And
That's
here's-
how, especially when Trump's out there appointing Supreme Court members, I feel like that's going to affect our justice system very quickly.
Oh, yes,
It
of course. And
definitely
it's
is.
designed to.
It definitely is.
Idiocracy is coming faster and
How
faster.
many? I said that like what was it? Almost 10 years ago. I said that movie's not a comedy. It is a
prophecy.
prophecy.
Yeah.
I said that 10 years ago, didn't I? You guys know. For all of you who don't know, if you've never seen it,
coming.
check out the movie Idiocracy. All right, for the same people who did Office Space. Okay, you're gonna laugh. But it's actually not funny. If you sit there and think about what's happening, it's not funny. It's a prophecy.
Yeah, you might end up thinking you're watching CNN. But it's actually just a movie.
Anyway.
Oh my god, I can't wait till our president is the ultimate three-time ultimate SmackDown champion.
Yeah, there you go.
Macho Camacho.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you know for a fact if it was okay for people from foreign countries to run for president, Schwarzenegger would be president right now.